Hello. Hey.
Hey, just leaving Camp Bullis, so I'm still good 10 minutes away. Did you hear that?
Can you hear me? Oh, helps I put this on.
I can.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you couldn't hear me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still 10 minutes away. I'm just leaving Camp Bullis, just getting back to 1604.
Okay.
So
the wife's driving you?
Negative. She's bowling.
Oh, she's bowling. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, she actually lets me go to doctor's appointments by myself now. Good.
Okay. All right. How good a bowler is your wife?
135, 140 average, something like that.
Okay.
They're not doing very well this year. They're near the bottom. They were near the top last year. They're near the bottom this year.
That's just like, yeah, I get that. So where's she bowl at?
Oh, it's the one over there on Medical Drive.
Right. Okay.
Just west of 10. So we have the elusive Quentin in town.
Quentin. You do?
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing?
Hey, Quentin.
Doing good.
I saw a pop up on my calendar, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not in a meeting, so I could jump in."
Right. All right. And Latricia, appreciate your conversation with, I can't remember who you just talked to. Was it Ann? I think it was Ann. Ann Tran.
She's here
Ann
with
Tran
me.
Garcia.
I'm gonna bring the phone over to her so you can hear her as well. Say hi to her.
Hi, Don. How you doing?
Hello, Ann.
Hello.
How's married life treating you?
Well, I went to the ER on Sunday and found out I had kidney stone and COVID.
Ooh.
So I'm trying to not be too close to Quentin.
Gotcha.
But I'll be there on Thursday since it's virtual. They just can't do anything in person right now.
Gotcha. Hey, Don. Don, are you there? Why am I getting this?
Yeah, I was just on mute. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me do the educational moment in just a second. And we've got two people I have not seen, Brian Noonan and Preben.
Present.
Good. Yep, both guys
Hey,
I've talked to. That's awesome.
This is Prabeen. I'm actually driving, so sorry for that.
How do you say your name, sir?
Prabeen Amatya.
Prabeen, a beautiful name. Okay. Right. Okay. I just like, it's not like Don. I know how to say Don. Okay. I'm no good for you. No, I'm just kidding. Nice to meet you. And Brian, nice to meet you as well.
And I'm here also with Tiffany, who's off to the side. We got some backlighting issues, but he's here.
Hi,
so.
Tiffany. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
So here's the situation. Okay. Don and I, we can run meetings by ourselves. We can run meetings in a hybrid situation, which is where we're at now, because Don's coming back from his um, doctor's appointment. I said, Don, I got this first part covered, and I'll do the warm up and all that. And then when he comes in, we'll do what we call wins and challenges. And for you new guys, we will then ask you to introduce yourselves. Now, I'm going to show you this. All right. Because that one guy was like 5 minutes. So we'd like to keep you to about a minute or less on your introductions. And that way we can keep the meeting moving quickly and efficiently. So with that, welcome both of you. Good to see you, Latricia, and thank you for the kind words. And Quentin, good to see you back. Glad to have you here. And hello, Ann. Ann is married to Quentin, and Ann is in our Thursday group. So with that, I'm going to open up the video. And we're going to talk a little bit about connection notes today. I think we're going to talk about connection notes. Right, here we go. So we're talking about first connections, okay? And what we talk about with this side of it is making a first connection on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn makes it really easy to connect with everybody, but unfortunately, most people have not mastered the art of connecting with people by writing a connection note. So these are some of the best of connection notes written by students that have been in the Military Transition Roundtable. So this first note was written by Dion Myers, who's been with us for a couple of years, and he's also one of our facilitators. And you'll see that he has a tie back to something that he saw about that person. This person, Ken, wrote a video. And so that's one way to write a connection note. Here's another one of his connection notes. In this case, it was referral from someone said, you know, Dion, you should talk to this person. And that person was Rafael Rivera. And of course, now they're connected. But that referral is a key part of the connection notes. So these are real connection notes sent by people in MTR to people who they didn't really know. In this case, this one was based on a comment probably made because Dion's very active in commenting on things, and this was the feedback, and this is how he responded and connected with this person. Again, another one that Dion wrote. Again, this person, Tom Zacher, a lot of people know him, but he made a post about following you and said, oh, Tom Zacher says I should follow you, then I want to follow you. But again, he took the time to look at his profile. And also he then put the, here's where I'm at kind of statement. And then this was written by another one of our students, Brian. And in this case, Brian put it backwards. In fact, Brian just said in the last group that he's now putting it more into, hey, your insights on EV and how to thrive post-military would be great as well. So he put the what's in it, what did we find about you, and here's what you should know about me. So again, there is no perfect LinkedIn connection note, and but those are my notes for today. What did you think of that, Latricia?
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot similar to what I tried to do when I'm first initialing to someone similar to Dion. I'll refer to something that's in their profile or something that I noticed in their comment if it's something that led me to want to connect with them in a comment or something. And then I'll kind of do a quick introduction of myself and say, let's connect.
Would you believe that I'm actually going to write a book on just that and then the next steps? So, and if you have some great notes you'd like to send to me, I would welcome them. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Don, are you able to work remotely, or am I going to do wins and challenges?
You got wins and challenges, but I want to add for this group the whole piece of the networking note. You know, there's so much going on with trying to build business off of social media. And I bet you guys get the same thing, right? Which is you get the pitch note as your first note. It's not only, hey, I want to introduce myself, but let me tell you what I do. And I'd like to have a 15-minute conversation with you to sell you the Empire State Building and probably throw in the Eiffel Tower for a really good deal. And
Not
you
to
just kind of
mention,
wonder,
not to mention swampland in Florida, right?
in swampland in Florida, you know, there's those two wide ends, right? Of you're trying to establish a connection and you just make it really bland, which is makes it easy to copy and paste. But the right note, as Matt's saying, is take something personal and starts a relationship, just like you would if you were in a building. You wouldn't walk up to somebody, hey, Matt, you and I have a bunch of connections. Let's talk. He's
No, we
kind of like,
wouldn't. No, we
he's
wouldn't.
like, so what, right?
That's, yeah.
But hey, Matt, I noticed you know Spencer Patterson. Spencer and I have been, you know, we were co-commanders together and stuff. I was wondering we could have a little conversation about, you know, how you know him and what kind of stuff you're doing in your business. That's a whole different conversation right there.
Yeah, that's kind of you know, that's what I love about this. It's the tie back, and you know, it's looking for the tie backs. There's always a tie back, and you know, there's several books written on how to do the research, but I'm inspired to write this book, and that's, you know, or add it to the updated version of LinkedIn for Military Post Volume 4, but that's where I'm going with that. So thank you so much, everybody. Don, I'm going to move on to wins and challenges.
Go for it.
And so since I just saw someone ping in here, make sure it's new, or Latricia, you're familiar with the process. Could you talk about your wins and challenges, please?
My wins was I was able to link up with you to finish going over a portion of my LinkedIn profile.
Right.
I've made some progress there based on our conversation. So
Right.
I'm still putting together some information based on our conversation, but I did work on it. So that's the win for me. And I was also able to link up with Don to discuss one of the ideas that that I've been tossing around about some community involvement and bounce some ideas off of him of how I can get started with doing some found financial literacy workshops or something within the community through churches or some other avenues. So that's my wins. My challenges have been just trying to link back up with people after the holidays, but slowly but surely I am making it happen.
I do understand that. Thank you so much. Quentin, you've been here before. What about, and you missed last time because it was the first year. What are the biggest wins and challenges since we last talked?
Well, I did some research on the franchises, on owning a franchise. So I did my homework on that. And also I'm doing a pivot in my career, going from a cybersecurity SME to a cyber capture manager.
Okay.
So that was one of my goals I had in my 5-year plan to finish up my final year of my 5-year plan. So it's been going good so far. So I'm learning that path. I have not gotten to researching on writing my book, but I was listening to you saying you're going to do your book as well. So anything you'd like to share, I'm always open on how to start that process.
Well, first thing I'll tell you is I got to redo the outline, but I've kind of got an idea of like how it doesn't work, how it really works, and then the follow-up. That's probably my 3 sections I'm going to put together. It's going to be a simple book, and you know, it's just, you know, so many people, you know, if I had $20 every time I got an unsolicited connection note for military guys, I'd be rich. I'd get $100 for a connection note where there's no tie back to me at all. I'd be really rich, and I could, you know, fund all of MTR for the next 3 years just based on those aspects. So yeah, that's thank you for the inspiration. Brian, would you introduce yourself, please?
Certainly. Great to see all everybody. Brian Noonan, and I'm trying to think of where I can't even remember where I found this, but what prompted me to join in is that I had started the E-Myth and really realized it was good, but just wasn't getting through it, you know. So I thought it'd be a cool thing to have kind of a study mastermind around. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, 2 separate 4-year tours. And outside of that, I've been in digital marketing. So started my first digital marketing agency in 1996, and it morphed and changed and grew along, kind of into a semi-retirement about 4 years ago. And I'm in the Veterans and Residents program with Bunker Labs. That might be where I heard about this. I came in there with a new business idea, totally different, but what was immediately apparent to me is that veteran-owned businesses and veteran-centric charities have marketing as a huge sore point. They either don't have any, or they have horrible marketing, not too much in between. So I'm recreating my agency. The name of it's Overwatch Digital, and it's going to be pretty much exclusively working with veterans, mil spouses, active duty, and the like.
Well, thank you for that. Thanks for sharing that. And we definitely need to talk to you about what you think we could do to improve our message, because we are competing with a lot of other people out there.
Yeah, sure thing.
It's pretty darn difficult, you know.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your first name though. Your thing says military transition roundtable.
My name is Matt Shearer.
Matthew.
David Matthew D. Matt Shearer. The Catholic nuns always called me Matt on the first day of school. And after that, it was Matthew when I was sort of in trouble. And when I heard David Matthew, I knew I was in for some time with the principal. Not that I did that much. And my mother, of course, encouraged them as well. It's Prabin, right? Is that right? Or Prabin?
Yes. Can you give me like 10 more minutes? I should be home in about 10 minutes. I can do an intro at that time. Sorry for that. I'm still driving. Almost home.
Almost home. Okay. Well, we'll wait for you to do that. Don, are you almost home? Okay. Well.
Hey, Matt, sorry to interrupt. Can we give Tiffany an intro?
By all means.
We're trying.
Hi, Tiffany.
Besides being Brian's wife, I'm actually also here for my own business and my own purposes. I just happen to be sharing an office space with him this afternoon. So my name is Tiffany. I am Brian's wife. I am also a pediatrician who in 2014 primarily left clinical practice and founded a company called Epic Parenting, where I've been doing one-on-one coaching parenting, helping families transition from control to connection and heal from their childhood stuff to create relationship with their children. And at this point, I'm attempting to transition my business into one that requires a lot less of one-on-one time from me and more one-to-many, writing a book, podcasting, and things like that. And I've been struggling to actually follow through. So I was looking for support in accountability with transitioning my business to something that feels more sustainable to me.
So what I heard you say, an ideal customer is my daughter, who's has an almost 2-year-old. Right?
Yes, and, I love them.
And you know, being a parent is an adjustment, as Don and I can both attest, right? Yeah. And so you want to help parents with this. And are you looking to be like a professional speaker? Are you looking to do workshops, webinars? You're trying to get people to buy into a system so that they can get ongoing lessons on things like how to put them to bed, how to deal with the terrible tantrums that happen, those kind of things. Yeah.
Yes, all of those things. Looking to speak more and be known from that. I actually have an online course. I've been doing this for 10 years one-on-one, but to actually be able to help more people, creating more of a platform where I am speaking and teaching workshops, and then supporting that way, but a lot less one-on-one work and more one-to-many.
Yeah, I could see where certain medical companies or even insurance companies would want to be a sponsor for something like that, because it's the information, it's the quality and the information that people need, and definitely.
Yeah, well, the secret they don't tell you is that they don't actually teach parenting in medical school, yet you come to your pediatrician. So I had to come through this work the hard way when I had 2 and 3-year-olds and was stressed, tired, overwhelmed, and struggling. I found a solution, and I've been helping people with that. So
Okay. I had visions of my son's pediatrician, Maury Kaplan, out of Denver, and he was a very good parent. And it was like, sometimes he says, it's okay to close the door and have a mom and dad talk without the kids around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and he was giving that kind of advice. So you sound a lot like good old Dr. Maury.
Well, thank you for allowing me here.
Don, are you back? I see that you've moved to a new, or am I still running this without you, sir?
I am back in the room.
Perfect. Okay.
Great to have all you guys here. I've been able to listen, but I finally got back into the house. Had to go get my staples removed out of my head. So I tell you, this week is looking up. First 2 weeks of 2023 has been tough for me, but this week is looking up. So what we normally do is we walk here into the spotlight. So some great topics there in the wins and challenges. The question is, from a business perspective, anybody have an issue, a thought, a question that they want to bring forward to the group? We do, Quentin and Prabin and Brian and Tiffany. I think Quentin, you might have seen it, but we use a spotlight where we define the question. Then we ask questions of the person who brings the issue forward, just to kind of dig deeper. It helps us understand and helps you go a little bit deeper into it. And then we give advice. And if we have time, we can do two different items. So has anybody got anything they want to bring forward? And it's my job not to speak and let you off the hook too easy.
Yeah, and
because this is all about you guys. This is all about helping you guys advance in your business. Nobody?
Hi, this is Quentin. I think the last time I was here was talking about the trials and tribulations of owning a business, maintaining a business, and all of the small things to uphold your business, like the taxes and all these other things. So when I was looking at doing a business, I did not look at all those problems for a business. My concept of starting a business was just having your business proposal done and get your LLC, know what tax you're going to fall under, and that's it. But from listening to the last group, they were talking about, so many other problems. So I'm curious about this group that's had businesses for 10 years or so. What kind of challenges did they have on starting the business financially? And how were you able to maintain it during the COVID time and now, with the transition of people wanting to stay remote or don't want to come out sometimes? That's my question to the group.
So let's hit those again. So the first one was ideas on starting a business in terms of things that you need to make sure you cover.
Yes, because some of the things they mentioned was not like in a book. It's like something you have to go through, and those experiences was totally new to me.
And the second one was kind of lessons learned through COVID.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Why don't we take those one at a time? Let's maybe we can cover both of them. Ideas for starting a business. Everybody's in a little bit different phase of talking, of working their business. So what questions would you have of Quentin? And I guess I'll start with the first one, which was, tell us again your business that you were starting, and I think you were talking about cyber. Quentin?
Yes. So I wanted to do a cyber business that's related to the healthcare system, because my relationship with it is with the VA. If we all gone through the VA, we know there's always problems getting your files and the process is very slow. So my way of business was working with the cyber teams and learning how to automate some of those forms and processes that they do. So that was going to be my focus with that.
Anybody else got a question?
I do. Quentin, what do you see as the biggest opportunity in your business?
Great question. Great question. And that's why I moved into cyber capture management, because my company sees me working with different individuals. So my focus was not just to go in there and change the whole system, but to teach them how to use cyber to save that PII stuff from being exposed as much, and also automating their day-to-day processes. So when we go there for information, we don't have to wait for them to look into different system or trying to find a form. For example, if you transitioning out the military and you send them all your healthcare records from active duty to go into the VA, they're always missing forms or something is not done. So the problem with that I've noticed is that when you transfer data, you will lose some of it. So you have to educate the people that's receiving the data that if you're getting so many gigabytes or megabytes and the original file is a different number than what you received, then something's going to be missing. So I'm trying to automate a process where it checks for those type of things to help them with that.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. You know, we hear a lot of times where people, they're like a couple of our students are in non-military kind of facilities, so they have to deal with non-military facilities, and they have to transfer all that to their military caregiver, so that when they finally do their VA stuff, that's an interesting concept you have there.
Do you know your personality, Quentin, in terms of like DISC personality or Myers-Briggs?
It's opposite of me.
No.
I'm the opposite of her.
Say it ain't so, Ann.
I'm an extrovert. It's ENFP or something.
No, the disc is a little different. Remember, that's the thing that I sent you and the girls?
Oh yeah, mine was way different than that.
Yeah, total opposite. So he's more like Matt.
More in the DI. Okay.
Yes.
He's like Matt, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I am a
Just
classic D.
just his humor there, Ann. I feel for you.
Wow, really?
No, because me and Don are the same when it comes to personality, and he talked about Matt, and I was like, "Yep, that's you." So
the truth comes out now.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
We'll talk a little bit about that in the recommendations or the advice. Anybody else got a question? Latricia? Braden? Brian? Tiffany?
I would ask why in particular are you focused or aiming toward the VA, which is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, whereas you could probably get in front of in front of decision makers from any number of different medical type facilities that have the same kind of problem.
That's also another great question. The reason why I've chose the VA is because I'm very familiar with it. And since I deal with a lot of the military personnel on this side in San Antonio, I'm able to actually have that conversation with them. Now, if I had the exposure to, you know, the hospitals and other agencies around here, that would be even better. Because like you said, you know, that's a big elephant to try to chew. So I'd rather work with somebody smaller and help them and get that conversation started. Because I don't know if somebody else is already trying that process, but from my experience and exposure, I would say that's the target I'm trying to capture right there.
And have you created processes through a software or however that would accomplish this?
Yes, I work with DevSecOps. So I'm learning from these guys with Kubernetes and how they write codes and those type of things. And I see the bigger picture of it, of the governance part. So I know for a fact I don't need to do those processes myself. I know how to capture the people to attain those goals with me. So I know it's not a one-man show of it.
So there's a program called USDS, United States Digital Service. So that actually does a lot of these kinds of work. I'm a software engineer as a background, that's my main job. But this agency handles a lot, right? So you may want to check with them also. They may have built some system, something similar. And they are extremely smart. This agency came up as a response to this Obamacare website. It was bogged down, really buggy, so this agency revamped that website within a couple of months. So there may be something similar already up and running.
That is very good to know. So I definitely want to read into that and check them to learn their processes, because maybe I can do some lessons learned from them and create my business to fill those gaps. Because there's always room for more than one player on the team out there.
What things, Quentin, did you do when you started? Because you said you kind of just picked a topic and jumped in. What kind of planning did you do?
So right now I work as a cyber SME with Omni Federal, and I'm always working with the CEO, meeting different people and listening to their problems. So my first step on deciding this was using my active listening and letting people speak about their problems and how I can fix it. So after I think 2 or 3 years of listening to different people talk about medical problems or just files in general, losing data, transferring things, and trying to speed up the process, because I've noticed that with society, we're limiting manpower and using more automation and AI. So the way forward is to how can I capture that and help the community as well. So my community is the VA, military personnel right now. So that's what's been my focus for transitioning people. Because a lot of us, we go through the long wait of waiting for your disability approval, files getting lost, keeping track of just your regular military records in general. So it doesn't have to be just medical. It could be just any records in general. It still falls under that category. So how can we safely maneuver these materials around and also help those organizations use their day-to-day basis in a better way to save time and money?
Okay. So you've kind of defined the problem. Any other planning? That was what I was trying to get to. Like a business plan or any other plans that you...
I wrote several business plans, and one of them that I wrote was to capture how these people are utilizing their business. Because do I really need the business, or do I need to teach them a different behavior?
Okay.
So that's when I started writing the business plan, that's what popped in my head afterwards, because many times we go to different commands and their practices are bad behavior, but they've done it so much that it's normal to them. So how can we train them to be more aware of PII stuff, HIPAA things, and tracking files in general? So that's my other phase of my process right now, is what businesses are they doing? The business processes are they doing? And if, like the gentleman was saying, if you could talk to smaller agencies, that would be really great if I had that exposure. So I can try to learn what they're doing and how to effectively utilize what I'm trying to do to help the process.
Goes back to Matt and his connection note. How do we get you connected to the right people who know the right people?
If anybody has that answer, I'm open.
Yeah. Okay.
God gave me 2 ears for a reason.
We'll come back around to that one. Yep. Anybody else got a question? We're going to go into advice. Anybody? Well, let's go into advice then. And remember, the question is ideas to cover starting your business. So we're all in that piece of starting a business. Latricia's probably a little bit farther ahead, I think, than most people in the group now. So any ideas from anybody on what needs to be covered based on what you just heard? I'll jump in, and Quentin, what I was hearing on the business plan was it was more about the client, what they're covering, how they're doing things. But did your business plan really dig deep into kind of your mission, your vision, define who the client avatar is, that the target audience? I think the problem's a good one, but then also get into what your product and service will be, what the pricing of that will be, what your expected revenue would be, what your expected expenses would be, all those kind of things.
Good question.
No, I have not put pricing and all that stuff to the business plan, but I did choose my target audience. So my target audience, like I said, was the transitioning people. And it's more of transitioning and middle class.
Okay.
So when I was doing my paper, they was talking about targeting audience and stuff like that. And that's when I changed my business plan. I edited it to transitioning people and people who's going from military to civilian side or civilian to military or civilian to civilian. It's just people who's transitioning would be the focus.
Okay.
Because that's when we do all the heavy work of transferring stuff and trying to figure out the next step and relying on another agency to do it for us. And then we complain about stuff being lost or missing or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Here's a lesson learned that Matt and I had. We came up with the idea December of 19. We talked about it for a month and a half, 2 months. We did a beta test in February of 2020. And just about the week that COVID, everything shut down in the US, we went live with this MTR concept. But we hadn't gone through the financial piece. So in November of that year, I was working with a coach and he laid out a format for me. And I started working through what the costs and everything would be. And so we started defining, this is how much it costs us to do, a person through a cohort for 6 months. Here's all the elements. And if I did cohorts of 10 people, how much that would cost per cohort. And then all of a sudden Matt and I, we had kind of thought, we'll do 3 for the first year, we'll do 9 the second year, we'll go to 27 cohorts the third year. As soon as we started looking at 9 is even, we can't do that in our schedules. We don't have enough time. We need facilitators. We need more admin. We need this, we need that. Just the thought of writing that down drove all these different items that had to be there. And then we started coming up with the cost of, I remember the second year was going to be with if we got to 9 cohorts, was going to be $286,000. And you do it from a nonprofit of having to raise money. And it's like, holy.
Yes.
Now I got to go out and contact all these people. But it just, every time we got a little bit deeper into the plan, it raised up a whole bunch of other things that we had to be thinking about. And I think that which is, as Eisenhower said, is the value of the plan, is the planning process. But it set us up, and we've now got 4 other, going to 5 facilitators. We've gone to a new CRM. We're doing a bunch of other things to try to build the business. So I would definitely really get deep into the business plan and thinking of all aspects, and we can probably get you a format.
Sounds good. I'm always open for anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
What do other people have? That's just a first idea.
Just a clarification question. So at first we were talking about a B2B type scenario for you, and then kind of shifted into helping transitioning vets with their files. So I'm not sure if that business could do both, unless the helping individuals comes sort of as a sideline or charitable charitable function of it.
It's definitely 2 target audiences, right?
Totally separate.
Yes, there's 2 target audiences, and a business can do multiple. And so the thing I did was ask the question to myself is, what is the core problem? And that is files being lost, and how can we help? So it doesn't, for me, I look at it doesn't matter which audience you look at. But for my target one is mainly transitioning people, which for right now is military, and it could be civilians as well. You know, people change careers right now, especially after COVID. Let us know that it's okay to change careers, or you have to. So why not have a business that can do that whole core area and not just a specific group? Like how you guys were saying, why not try smaller hospitals and stuff like that rather than the whole VA itself? So they all going to have that same problem of losing files, people being trained to do what they have to do to maintain the integrity of the files. So how can I solve that with automation to save them time and money, and also how to have a program to check and make sure those files are done correctly? Now, I know for a fact we have programs out there to check for those things, but is it being utilized in those areas the right way? So that's my other piece of it that I'm trying to make sure that it's being covered.
I don't know, Brian, if you got any advice off of that. I've got one. What you had a question for asking that, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I just first of all, I'm a big believer in niching down your business and being very specific. And the manner in which you'd help individuals transitioning versus the manner in which you'd help an organization, a medical organization, implement new systems are totally polar opposites. So I would say that that helping the organizations will be a lot more profitable and you'll be able to help a lot more people. However, that's just one guy's idea.
I think the key thing there, I'm going to piggyback off of that, is pick one, get it going, work through it all, and then consider expansion to a second similar function. But trying to bring up several at the same time, the lessons you learn on one, you can be applying to the other when you do it in series. It's tough when you're doing it in parallel because you find a mistake, then you got to go back and fix them all. Matt and I went through that. You know, we talked about, do we do recruiting? You know, do we help? You know, do we try to go the finder's fee route? All that kind of stuff. And it's like, that's not what we started. We started a mastermind to help the coach. You know, yes, a placement service would be great from a funding perspective, but it's a whole different system. And we've stayed out of that. Neither of us, when we asked each other the question, do you really want to do that? And the answer for both of us was no.
Yeah, that's great advice. I didn't think of it that way.
But Quentin, it was tempting. Let me say that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, I thought it was in the same realm, but you know, you guys done it more than me, so I'm gonna take you guys' word over mine. I'm just learning.
Yeah, I think Brian's right. The processes you're going to use for the business and then work for an individual, B2C, are going to be totally different. The sales process, the connection process, how you're going to do it, everything is going to be different. Are they related because it's automating digital products? Yeah, but that may be about as far as the similarities go. I don't know. What else advice? We got just another minute or two. Maybe we'll take on that other item he had, lessons learned through COVID. Anybody? Matt, anything?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that what I heard Quentin's talking about the problem we have as individuals with B2C, but I like what everybody said, that it's the hospital. You need to find a hospital that really cares about that. You know, you need to find the organization that's, you know, needs to really tighten down their deficiencies. You know, the ACHE's probably got a standard for the number of deficiencies. You know, they have what's called the Joint Commission on Health Services. I'd look at someone who's a Joint Commission on Health Services advocate and find that person to walk you through it, because you're really advocating for the average military guy. But like everybody said, you know, such a big 800-pound gorilla, right? And why would you want to deal with the 800-pound gorilla when you've got the when they don't want to admit the problem? It would be staffed to death. But if you could find one hospital and say, yep, we want to do this, let's try it, then it may work much better that way.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Any questions on any of that you've heard so far? Quentin?
No questions right now. Thank you.
Okay.
You actually helped me narrow it down, so that's really good. Less stress.
That's what we're all about. Let's go to the second question you had. Lessons learned through COVID. Let's do this a little bit differently. I'm just going to open it up for kind of lessons that you guys learned in COVID without having to ask the questions and advice. What things did you learn? Anybody? I think Latricia dropped. She had somebody who showed up at her house.
She did, yes.
I don't know if Brian and Tiffany, were you guys open during COVID?
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting because we've been working from home for years and also homeschooling our kids. So it was kind of just another day in our life. It didn't change that much as far as the logistics of all of it. But it was definitely challenging. Most of what we both do is online though. So like I said, it didn't turn us upside down like a lot of people do.
My referral business actually got busier, and I stopped doing a lot of marketing because I'm a parenting coach and people were home with their kids a lot, and
needed help.
I had a lot of referrals, so I was busy in the one-on-one market during COVID. Plus, I do some telemedicine, which obviously was busy as well. So didn't change much around here.
Okay. How about any of the areas like logistics or anything like that? I mean, logistics became a big issue for a lot of companies, but as a coach, you don't have logistics.
Yeah, we already had all the online platforms set up and operational. So I'm not going to say that there weren't challenges during that time. I think doing business is challenging all the time to a certain degree, but it wasn't as much of a shock as I think a lot of people experienced because we were already in our home offices with our kids all the time anyway.
Yeah, you didn't have to buy computers and get everything.
Using Zoom for 5 years before Zoom was cool to meet with clients all over the world. So it really did not change a whole lot from that regard.
Yeah.
Gratefully.
Yeah.
I would think Matt and I were probably the same. We had designed it to be all remote, virtual. And so when we went live that week, we already had Zoom. We'd already been trying it. We did a beta test for a couple of meetings. We had thought about the processes, creating a spreadsheet to track students, thinking about a database, how to do that. So we were already thinking about our processes. So we just kept on rolling. Praven, were you in business at the time?
Sorry, I'm actually doing like one more meeting at my other work. Do you mind repeating the question?
Were you in business during COVID? If you can't talk right now, just let me know. But we're just wondering if you had any lessons.
So let me introduce myself. I'm Praveen. I served in the Air Force from 08 to 09 for 4 years. During that time, not 08 to 09. 08 to 09 was when I was deployed to Iraq. 05 to 09 for 4 years. I actually have like a single member LLC. My wife is actually a dentist and I handle all of her paperwork, legal, everything, accounting, right? And my intro to business, like the entrepreneurship happened when I bought a multi-unit property in Chicago and I was doing everything from maintenance, marketing, accounting, everything. So during a couple of situations, like when the pipes burst due to extreme weather, I lost a lot of sleep, right? So nowadays,
I
wanted to launch. Yeah. So nowadays, I'm just trying to launch like another dental clinic for my wife. That way, and I'm just going from my lessons learned, right? I don't want to lose my sleep. So I'm trying to create systems. So I happened to meet Don during one of the mentorship sessions in Lincoln. And he suggested me about the eMyth Revisited. So I went through a couple of chapters. I really like what it's written over there about creating systems instead of being an actual technical person doing the work. So definitely looking forward to working with you all. So Don, would you mind repeating the question again as to what you asked? Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Quentin was asking what kind of lessons learned did you get from COVID operating your business? And Brian and Tiffany were saying not really because they were already remote. Matt and I said not really because we designed it to be remote.
Yeah, so it was mostly for my wife, right? I was advising her. She's a dentist, it's literally like going inside the lion's den. So did a lot of research. There were like a lot of misinformation. The owner was asking her to come to the clinic. I told her strictly no, even if he fires, like, let's not do it. So getting good information, sorting it out, and making decisions, that probably saved us a lot.
Okay.
So that was my biggest lessons learned. Money can be earned later on, but having your health and mental sanity is important than anything else.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's the problem with being an entrepreneur, right? You could work 8 days a week, 30 hours a day, somebody told me, and you still wouldn't get it all done. So at what point do you stop and say, this is how much time I'm willing to put into it? This is the other things I've got in my life. Now, some people in Bunker Labs, one of our ambassadors said that you pretty much sacrifice your family for the first 3 to 5 years. You're working 80-hour weeks, 100-hour weeks. You just eat, sleep, and breathe. And I'm kind of like, I'm at the phase of my life where I'm not interested in doing that. So, I think that would be a lesson learned, is a good personal assessment of what, and he talks about it in the E-Myth. It's a great chapter. It's one of the first ones in the back. He says, how do you want your business to support your life?
Right.
And he really talks about, you've got to have a life. And I think, Prabin, you hit it, is, thinking about your health, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health. Those are vital and from a long-term perspective. So Quentin, I would add that one in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You have Ann and I shaking our heads like, oh man, that's a good gem right there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that base book was really good. Like, it gave us a good example about the bakery, like good example, so focus on creating the systems instead of being the actual worker / employee, right? Then you can scale it.
Let's do this. We walked through last fall and spring the book E-Myth, and then we had kind of consistent attendance, so we were capitalizing on a lot of that. Most of those other folks have fallen off for one reason or another, had to go back to work as a job versus the entrepreneur or whatever. And Latrice is the only one that's still holding with us. So I've got about 2 or 3 other folks through Bunker Labs that I've invited that are interested. Why don't we plan on you guys buying the book E-Myth Revisited, assuming you're going to stay with us, and let's start walking through that book, because I think it's so important to understand the concepts that he's talking about. And Prabin, I'm excited that you're already into it.
Can somebody type in chat the name of the book, please? Because I'm looking for it right now, actually.
Yeah, E-M-Y-T-H Revisited. And it's the original or the blue.
By Michael E. Gerber. Got it.
Yep.
Can I jump in here
right now?
Quentin, another way to get this is to buy the Audible book, because you can drive somewhere for 10 to 15 minutes and it sinks in. Okay. For me, that's how I read the book.
Yeah. And I even got it on YouTube. There's just an Audible for free if you want it. The hard part.
Well, I just got it on the Amazon Audible because I'm a big Audible fan. So like Matt was saying, I just play that thing and let it sink in. And if something good, I could rewind it and get to that spot. God, I'm telling my age, rewind.
Yeah, I was listening to it during my knee rehab from replacement surgery. So
yeah,
I couldn't do much else, and I was on enough drugs so I could just sit and listen. The other thing I would tell you is, which goes back to what we said earlier, it's the business plan, but it's the processes, and writing down your processes. Too often, and I think Gerber talks about it, is you spend so much. So he uses McDonald's, right? Think about McDonald's and the very clear, clean processes they have. Even if you buy a franchise each franchise does it exactly the same way. The number of seconds they do the fries, the number of seconds they fry the burgers, exactly how it's laid out. Everything is the same. So it automatically instills that discipline. And what Matt and I have found is, because we were different personalities, goes back to the DISC assessment, right? He probably says things a little shorter than I do. I sell things a lot longer than he does, because I'm more relationship oriented. He's more the D, just get it done perspective. And we had to come to an agreement in the middle of how we're going to walk through that so that we're consistent, because it's tough to, we got to put metrics in place. That's probably the next one. Put your metrics in place for your funnels, because if Matt has a class and he talks about MTR from a 3 to 5 minute, he's going to instill different interest than if he just says, hey, I'm Matt and I'm a partner in Military Transition Roundtable and we run a mastermind. Would love to talk to you about it. It may or may not grab people. So we got to do it consistently. The one thing I've learned is you got to be consistent, and then you can measure how good your marketing is, how good your sales is. And then and then when you start getting enough trend, you can tweak one thing. And that's why you got to have it consistent. You tweak one thing and see how it goes up or down. Then you tweak one more thing, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and start it over, because then so that's one thing Matt and I have been working hard on, is trying to get our processes in place for all this different stuff. And the more you can do that in the beginning, the better you will be, because you'll be farther off. Go ahead, Matt.
One of the things that we've just discussed is what's our unique value statement. And one of the things that I've incorporated is the mastermind concept, because the mastermind concept is different from all the other organizations out there. Yep. That it's a one-time. We're a mastermind process. The more you put into this, Praven and Quentin and everyone, is the more you're going to get from this. And it's like, it's not real obvious. It's not like a one-day seminar, we're going to get stuff. It's like, it's an ongoing process that helps people see things that they didn't recognize. And as you stay with us, you'll see more of this. And I really encourage you to look at this as not just a one-time, but what is your commitment to us, where we can help you, but also what is your commitment to the people in your group?
Yeah, when you guys see the application, we're going to ask you in a minute if you want to have an application and join us. As you'll see in there, we have 2 unexcused absences in a 6-month period. Now, if they're excused, which is I had to be at work, I had a medical situation for me, a family, those are automatic. But if you decide to go on vacation, or you decide, just not into it for the day, or you forget, that becomes an unexcused. And the reason is because your group, just like the discussion today, the group depends on you being there. If one person shows up or 2 people show up and you're missing half the class, the richness of the conversation goes down immensely. And we want the conversation to be the key. All the ideas, leverage the knowledge and experience of everybody in the group. And that's why we want to build this to 8 to 10 people. So you grow that in richness. So some people have come back to me and said, I'm a chief, or I'm a sergeant major. I don't need to be, treated like a school kid. I'm not trying to treat anybody like a school kid. I'm just trying to hold you accountable to be here for everybody so that the value is there. All right. So we're 25 after. We're going to have to end that part. Quentin, did that help you on the 2 questions?
Yes, it did. You guys opened up stuff that I'd never thought about, and especially focusing down on, separating the 2 processes I had in place in my mind.
Okay.
So this is really good.
Perfect. Is there one or two things you're going to work on for the next 2 weeks that we can hold you accountable for?
So for the next 2 weeks, I have to find my actual audience, because I found my audience, but it was too broad. So now I have to narrow it down even more. So I'm sure with spending time with you all, I can narrow it down even more after that too as well.
Yep.
So,
is there a second one, or is that your primary?
That is my primary, because that's, like you said, once you change one thing, it changes everything else. Excellent. So I know I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board again, but instead of going back each time for this one, I just want to find my actual audience. Yep. And then after that one, I'll work on networking and stuff to get that audience. But thank you guys for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we always think about the product service first, but until you know who your audience is, and start talking to them and finding out what their problems are, you won't be able to get the right product service to serve them. That's so important. Prabin, what can we hold you accountable for the next 2 weeks?
So I don't have the answer right now. I have so many things going on for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
I guess finishing a couple of chapters on the E-Myth Revisited, right? So let's do that. Okay. I finished the first couple of chapters. So this book is definitely a treasure.
Yes.
Thank you for telling me about it.
You're welcome.
Basic examples, but definitely opened up my mind. Definitely made me revisit my relationship with my wife as to what kind of roles we should take, right? So yeah, this is really good book. Thank you.
Yeah, and for Prabin, and actually Brian and Tiffany, I think you do separate businesses, but you're working in the same areas. Understanding your disc personalities and how you work together to help each other is important, because it goes down to that level of detail and how how you work together, trust. Just from a perspective of Matt's a visionary, I'm an integrator, right? So as Matt loves to come up with ideas, work certain things, toss them to other people, I'm the integrator. I'm the down and dirty details kind of guy. So I can build stuff out, but you got to operate within your zones, but then you got to also understand the other zone and figure out how I can help the other zone, right? So how can I help Matt be visionary? How can he help me be integrator? Because I may come up with the processes, but he's got to read them and follow them, right? And vice versa. He comes up with the ideas, I got to work out to try to implement some of that. So we got to figure out the edge, that line between them. That takes a while. So we do the DISC personality assessment. I'm a trained certified consultant in DISC, Maxwell method, and that all comes part of the program. So Brian and Tiffany, I want to jump to you guys real quick on your accountability for the next 2 weeks. And Prabin first. Can I send you an application?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay. And Quentin, we had sent you one before. Did you get that one?
It's too early in the morning to start lying, so I'm gonna say no. Can you send it to me again? Because it probably was in there, but And stop laughing at me. She's over here laughing at me.
That's the DI right there, man.
And she said the same thing about when Matt, you were saying about Matt is the visionary. She's like, yeah, that's you right there. I'm like, you don't need a cosign. It's okay. Yep. Let Don run the show.
There you go. Brian and Tiffany, how about you guys? Thanks, Quentin. Brian, Tiffany, accountabilities.
I'm gonna have to go with, as I'm just really a startup with 20 years of experience doing the same thing, but sort of reinventing. My goal for the next 2 weeks will be to give my clients, my existing client base, an extraordinary experience so that they become raving fan advocates of my business. And the metrics of that, I'll be able to tell you for sure. It would be like it'll be binary, like they're feeling great or they're not. And I'll be able to report that next week. Or
do you have a way to measure that?
Yeah, kind of. They're still clients. I'm just kidding. No, there are other metrics, but they'll be individual, different for each one. So I'll just be able to give either a generally positive or generally negative, and whatever challenges I faced with that.
Okay. And can we send you an application?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And Tiffany, how about you for accountability?
My accountability for the next 2 weeks is going to be on clarity of the direction that I'm moving my business to, because I am discovering that I can't write my book, start my podcast, contact people for speaking, and start a YouTube channel all at the very exact time, and then nothing's happening. So I am going to get clear on what I'm going to actually focus on for the beginning. Those are all goals in the business, but I can't do all of them at the same time, so none of them are getting done.
Yep.
So I will commit to clarity and also taking my DISC personality profile and learning more about myself, I guess.
Okay, perfect. Then we can send you an application then?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as I get the application back, since you guys have attended, I can shoot you a DISC profile and we can go through it. And I want to offer myself up to you guys. I know Matt will as well, as he works with you on LinkedIn and stuff. He really gets into the why. But as a certified coach, I help people exactly what you were just talking, Tiffany. I helped all kinds of clients with what are my priorities? How do I fit into my schedule? What are the competing commitments? You know, what are the distractions? How do I pull the distractions away so I stay focused? And just went through some classes this last weekend on some of that. So it more than willing to help you out. Just let me know. I never force myself on people, but I make myself available. So it's up to you to reach out. But I can always give you my Calendly link. Matt, anything you want to finish with? I know we're over time.
No, just that we'll be sending some, if you're here in San Antonio, we're going to be doing a couple events on February 5th. We're having a combination pool and poker tournament. And if you can make it, we'd love to have you. We're raising money and also awareness, you know, through our ongoing mission to help people in transition.
Excellent. Yeah, Brian, I assume that's something we can take online. It is. I send you an email with a code. You take it online. I get the report. You get the report, and then we do a debrief for about 45 minutes to walk through it. And we could do it as a couple with both of you if you want.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, he's Matt and not David Letterman. I like that. All right. Yeah, and hopefully we're going to have a webinar next week. We're still trying to get it lined up. Matt, Tricia said she's finalizing everything. Should have it to us in the next day or so. I know we're pushing timelines, so we may have to think about that.
Yeah, we need to discuss that. Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, you have a good one. Thanks for being here. Thanks for playing in the mastermind piece and being participative. I know several of you, 3 of you for sure, for the first time. Quentin's only the second time. So it's all new to you guys. I'm going to continue to keep growing. If you know other entrepreneurs who are interested in being a part of a mastermind to help you grow your business, you've seen the gist of what we do. We'd love to grow this group to 8 to 10 people because it really, really, really enhances the richness. And other than that, I wish you guys the best and look for seeing you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Don. Thanks, everybody. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks, guys.
You'll have a good week.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, Ann.
Hi.
Ann, were you doing the 2-hipper?
The what?
I called it. Have you know what the 2-hipper is? When you're mad, you got my wife's got the 1-hipper or the 2-hippers. You know, 2-hippers is you put your hands on her hips. That's a 2-hipper. Uh-huh.
And yeah. The next one's the 2-hander right there.
Yeah, it was a great session today. Great one.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to reach them sometimes because I have meetings during this time. So that's why I was checking my phone. Like I see the CEO ping, like, okay, next one. I'm like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
We appreciate you working through that. Yeah. All right.
All right,
you guys have a good couple of weeks.
You too.
See you Thursday.
See you Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Don.
How'd the 10 o'clock go?
It went really well. It did.
Thanks for starting this one off.
No, you know, we can't be everywhere all the time. We didn't see it when we first started. We didn't see it this way, but now it's like, yeah. And
we were getting our processes down and being consistent. So
the thing of it is, I knew when you said your doctor's appointment was at 10:15. It's like he's not going to be back at 11:30.
Well, I was at the pharmacy at 10:45. They just forgot to put the prescription in. So at 11, I had to go back to the doctor and say, hey. And it was for something that I was seeing him to take the staples out and then find out what was going on with my referrals because nobody's contacted me in 2 weeks. And TRICARE system, Humana, was down this morning. And by the way, I screwed up my password. So anyway, but they got me everything. And then I threw in, by chance, can you give me cough syrup? oh yeah, we can do that. So it was kind of a last minute ad, which cost me the extra half hour. So, all right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So 10 o'clock was good. I'll go back and listen. And
it's the kind of thing, and by the way, we got enough from the folks at the Air Force Wounded Warriors. It's the kind of thing you'd want to show them. So this is typical. I mean, it was that good, right?
Good.
It was like we had one of the new guys, Daniel Blicklier, talk about his processes. And and it was really good. We really broke it down into the skill bridge, into the, I mean, this is a really, the 10 o'clock group's always been a really dynamic group, and this one was really totally dynamic. So
I was looking at it while you were talking, and I still had the word query in there for Irma Smith and Lee Mills. I assume neither of them showed up today.
You are correct.
Okay. And I had written a note, we got to realign Jonathan. I think I shot him a note to say, hey, where do you want to move? And he hasn't responded. And
Nathan is moving back to nighttime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where he's at. Okay. He wants to stay with it, but his shifts are such that
was he there today?
No, he's gonna be on Thursday.
He was, okay. So is that back to the 7 o'clock group?
And that goes back to keep, people like that, they have a reason for switching. They want to stay in a group, but they have a dynamic shift. So that's something to bring up with Anne Marie when we have our next meeting.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
And nothing from Ash.
Nothing from Ash. No.
Okay. But Jill was there. Good.
Who?
Okay.
Jill was there. Jill.
Yeah.
Jill's like, she said she's catching up on her processes for their billing and all that. So she's like, sounded really good, but you had, with Jill, sometimes you have to drag it out of her, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. I'm just so excited we got her thinking differently.
Yeah. No, I know.
With focusing on her business is bringing her capabilities and skills that she doesn't have, which is exactly what she wants to use for an outside job. And getting that business. I told her, and even ask your husband for a paycheck.
Yep.
And it makes it feel like it's yours. Obviously, you get the paycheck, it goes back in the joint account. It's kind of stupid, but it's the same thing as when you're working remotely. You go out and get in the car, drive around the block, come home, and then walk straight in your office. It's just the mental mindset piece that now I'm at work.
I'd almost put some of that money into my own personal account. You know what I'm saying? This is my money.
Yeah, I could. I mean, it's up to them.
Yeah, it depends.
In your budget, you should always have money that goes to each of you. That's just kind of your mad money.
Yeah.
I get about $100 every 2 weeks, 15 days.
Yeah.
But that's where I get my, my Kneaders money and my corner bakery money and stuff like that.
That's exactly how I work it too. But I'm just saying, it's like,
all right.
Yep.
Have you done any queries to folks who missed?
No, I have not. No, I will. Okay.
Since I'm the integrator, you want me to do that?
Please.
Okay. So I think sometimes it's easier with just one of us doing it.
Well, I was able to get everything done, and then while we were in some of the period today, I caught up on the attendance for the 10 o'clock.
I saw that. Thank you.
Okay.
I think I caught the 11 o'clock.
Right. Okay.
Nope, I did not yet. So Daryl's not there. Have you heard from Daryl?
No. I'm sure he had a good reason.
Oh, I'm sure too, but
why don't you've got this strong relationship. Why don't you reach to him and say, hey, buddy.
Yep. I got a note from Regina Taylor. She had some type of work or medical.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is Anne Marie held off on sending the absence notices until we got back to her. And I'm going to change that, and I want to get your coordination, which is, I think if we query them right after the class, so today and Thursday, Friday morning, we'll give them till Monday. When we talk on Monday, if we haven't heard from them, it's an absence. And we don't drag it on waiting, because then that's requiring us to get back to her. But we're just going to say the spreadsheet is accurate as of this time. This is what people have told me. And if they haven't told us anything, it's an absence. You agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. Just got to document that. That was good discussion on Quentin. All right.
Well, that was a great discussion. You really broke it down, because Quentin's like, he's really broad and it needs to be down to like specific problems. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's the biggest thing with this this format is to be
So-
specific.
Last thing, E-Myth 3, we'll do that for the next class. Or we go back to 1. What do you want to do?
What do you mean, E-Myth 3 or E-Myth 1?
Chapter 3 of E-Myth.
Well, we haven't done 1 or 2 of these guys.
Let's do 1. Let's start again, okay?
So we're gonna encourage them all to get the book.
Right.
Oh, that's the wrong book. That's Put Your Dream to the Test. That ain't gonna help me any. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, let's
Do you want
let's
to
talk-
lead some of those based upon whoever's the lead for the day, or you want me to always take those?
I can
like to
lead
have
this,
both of
but
us do-
I could. Let's talk about it on Thursday, okay?
Okay, 'cause you now have the book and you said you've read the book, so
I've listened to the book. I'm very much in tune with the book. When you're saying things to me now, it's like, yeah, I get this.
Yep.
The consistency, just like I said with the how I was talking about the mastermind. I'm emphasizing the mastermind, and something else that was said was, you know, what we offer is we help show people the blind spots. This is what Day said today. Shows the blind spots in people's transition. Pretty
Yeah,
smart,
it's
pretty
good.
powerful stuff.
who said that one?
Day.
Day.
Yeah, look at your attendance. He's our Korean guy. He's
Ah,
the
okay.
OSI. Yeah, I had 3 people I've never met before, but hey, I rolled with it.
Yep. Yeah, I had invited Daniel a while ago, so that was good. I think I invited Day Chow.
Like I said,
Good.
I rolled with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because I can.
Yep. All right. Well, you
All
have
right.
a good one. I'm gonna go get lunch before I hit my 1 o'clock, and I think I'm solid all the way through my webinar at 5.
All right. I'll see you soon.
I've got another 7 o'clock tonight. So
See you soon.
yep.
Bye.
Bye.